السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته everyone. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Today inshallah I'm going to talk about on how to write and reflect on the homework sheets effectively. So let's start with different scenarios and then we will go on to the guidelines on how to evaluate the student on each point separately, inshallah. So let's just open it up by discussing the different scenarios. So I'm going to put this slide. I have put it in our workshop before. So I'm going to put this one again here. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So in this scenario, you can see that the parent and the student has filled out the section of the homework, and they have done the homework on daily basis. And in this situation, you need to acknowledge and thank the student and the parent for completing the homework. And initially, at the beginning of the new year, or when you start with a new student, you need to give the full mark, like something like 5, like as we did here, 5. But after you can still make their work more perfect. So you could still ask them to give you like a feedback, because you giving them a feedback, you also want to hear from them their feedback. Maybe they are not happy with the progress of their students. Maybe they have seen progress, or they have seen an improvement for their child. So in this case, you need to know also their concern, and then you cooperate with them and to solve these issues. So you need to ask them to fill this section. Yeah, this section is here for a reason. It's not for here to be left always as blank. So you need to encourage them to fill this. And to be a role model, you always have to also to fill all of your sections perfectly. Okay, so this is the scenario number 1. But in case if you keep asking them and they don't come back anytime with any parent comment, then maybe you reduce the mark and you say why you have reduced the mark, and you are expecting from them to to give a feedback about their children as well. So so this is for the scenario number 1. So now let's go to scenario number 2. I'm going to copy paste these slides as well here. So in this slide, you can see that the parent for this note, they haven't done anything about the homework, but they have left for you a note, and they said, please note my son or my daughter was sick and he or she couldn't finish the homework. So this is one example of the parents' communication or clarification about a situation that doesn't happen quite often. So, and also another example could be like, please note that we were very busy moving house and we couldn't have time to fill. In this situation, because you know that this student and this parent is always helpful and always filling the homework, and this is the first time they haven't had this one. You need to appreciate that they have clarified the excuse, and then what you do, you still give them the full mark, and you say, I totally understand, and since your son always does the full homework, he will be granted the full mark. Now, the full mark, you don't get the full mark so easily, but at the same time, you need to be understanding in similar situation like this one. But if this excuse happened for the second time, in row, then you could also say that and say he's granted 4 out of 5 and he's a good student. I'm going to give him 4 out of 5. But if this keep happening multiple of times, then you can start to reduce the mark and saying, oh, this student is going to get 3 out of 5. And now in this way of communication, you are raising your concern, and the parent knowing that you are a teacher that not always giving the full mark, but at the same time they know that you are a person that understand the excuses and a helpful person. So this is scenario number 2. Let's go to scenario number 3. So scenario number 3, let me copy paste this one as well for you. So in scenario number 3, you would see here that the student and the parent, as you can see, they have done their part, totally completed. But what the teacher has done here, nothing, doesn't put any comment. This action or this way of feedback or the method of teaching is considered inappropriate, because you, by this way, you are discouraging if you do something like that, you are discouraging the parents from continuing to be positive and to give feedback. Okay, so please don't do this example at all. So now let's go to the following slide. So in this slide, I'm going to copy paste it as well for you. So in this scenario, you can see that it is the same like the last one. It is empty and it comes without any excuse. But this is even worse than the previous scenario, because the teacher still gave 5 and there was no excuse. So there is no excuse. So and still receive full mark, and this consider inappropriate feedback from the teacher. And by doing something similar to this, we are saying that the homework is not important to us. And also the parents and the student, they are also saying it's not too important to us. The whole school saying it's not important to us. So please be mindful when you're doing your part or your responsibility, because we never want this message to be conveyed to the student and to or through our school. So let's go to the following scenario. So in this scenario, so in this scenario, you could see what the parent has done, what the teacher has done in this situation. So the parent has done nothing, no excuse and no homework. And then you can see the teacher has given 2 out of 5. So this showed there is a high concern by the teacher regarding the filling of the homework. And so in this by doing this, and you say please complete the homework and fill all of the part on daily basis. So in this scenario, there might be some reasons for this, like what we have done in the workshop. We have listened to your feedback about that, and so it could be that the parent they don't know about how to do the homework. So one of the good method that we need to meet with the parents and to explain how to do or how to fill this part, and also to encourage them, because some of them, they might be like reckless, like they don't want to do the homework. So we need to explain to them the importance of the homework and also how to do it. So this is our part, not only to give like the low mark, but also to explain it, to the parent. So this for this scenario. So let's go to the following scenario. So now we have actually finished most of the scenarios that we can see in the school. So let's go now how to evaluate the memorization. So to evaluate the memorization, you need to set up a criteria that you always using the same criteria for all students. Because if you don't use a similar criteria every time, you will not be considered a fair to all of the students. So say there is no mistake, you could give the full mark. Uh, and if there is one or two mistake, you could say, "Oh, this student going to get four." If there is three or four mistakes, three. And if there is more than four, like five, four, five, six, seven, or sorry, or five, six, seven, you could say like, this is low two. I wouldn't give one, just to avoid disappointing them. And also you don't only put the mark, you need to put a comment here, say exactly where you were testing the student, which surah, and you need to say how many mistakes, two mistakes. So here al-mursalat, and you need to also identify the location of the mistakes. And this is in the, for example, in the Quran or in the Green Book, you need to identify the mistakes so that the student can go to work on these mistakes. And also you need to use nice handwriting, because I have noticed some of the assistant teachers, they sometimes they write really bad handwriting because probably they don't know, but they everyone need to give attention to write nicely. So if you give four, you need to explain that how many mistakes had been done, and the same also for three and where, as we mentioned. And also you need to suggest solutions. So like listen and repeat 20 times. I know the space here is very limited, but you still need to give a solution. And also, if you give five, don't say, okay, I give five. It's obvious that the student hasn't done any mistakes. You need to say, awesome that the student hasn't done any mistakes and have been testing the student in that surah. And so you need to be positive and also very specific in your feedback. So this for this section. So let's go to the following slide. So now for this one, as you can see, we need to evaluate the fluency and tajweed and makharij. And why did I put all of these together in one slide? Because they are related. So you need, like, especially when you do the Quran, you open the Quran. If you do the Green Book, you open the Green Book in a random place, and then you start to ask them in a random way to read in the Quran or the Green way, and then you evaluate all of these sections together, and you need to be specific. Like in Makharij, say exactly what are the problems in Makharij. In Tajweed, you need to be very specific. Don't say just 65, 70, 80, excellent. This is not a specific. They wouldn't learn anything by saying that. And you need to identify your criteria similar to what we said in the previous slide. You need to be fair and realistic and encouraging to them, and also to suggest solutions. So when we, if you say in this one four, and you talk about there are like three or four stocks, and this like 60 or 70% fluency rate, and you talk about the tajweed and problems in أحكام نون ساكنة, قلقلة, تنوين, whatever problem exactly, and مخارج, you need to identify where exactly the problems, and also your suggestion of solution, please. So this is for this slide. So let's go to the upcoming slides as well. So now how to identify, how to evaluate the behavior. So behavior could be good and could be bad. So let's now talk about what if the behavior is very good. We need to be very specific when we explain this one. So if the behavior is very good and you give five, please never say this student is excellent or awesome, because this doesn't mean anything. They wouldn't know what awesome in what. They need to know what their student good at. So they could be good at focusing, they could be good at engaging or being quiet or being actively participating or being polite, or you need to be specific. They will be very happy if you give this specific feedback. And then, what if the student is not doing very well in the behavior? Then you also need to be specific and say the problem and how to solve it. Uh, so, say we have this now, and we say this student is taking 4 or 3. I wouldn't give less than 3 unless if there is a very critical concern. So in this one, you would say he or she is easily distracted. This is one of the problem. You can say any concern. I'm just putting some examples, and you also can say this student highly unstable and difficulty to pay attention. For example, there might be need to be diagnosed or diagnosed already with ADHD, and you need to communicate this with the parent or the coordinator. Okay, so this for this slide, and so now, um, what about how to recommend a new homework? This is important because sometimes we recommend the homework that is not appropriate for them. So, what are the guidelines for this one? So, we only give a new homework. So Sheikh Hatem said, we only give a new homework if there is no mistakes at all, or at least no major issues. You can also set up a criteria that you always use. You need to be reasonable and also ask the student for their capacity, because you need to engage them, you need to encourage them and ask them how much like lines do you want to memorize? Do you want to memorize the whole surah, or you want to memorize half of it, half page? You need to encourage them, like incorporate them in the decision. There will be more ready to memorize and to do the homework when you ask them, and also encourage them. But at the same time, don't compromise your encouragement by not identifying the issues. You need to identify the issues and also asking and suggesting solution. Remember, no one is perfect until they perfect their memorization, recitation, makharij, and tajweed. So this is for this slides. So now, how to improve the capacity of the students? So to improve the students' capacity, so this is Dr. Ihab has created and has designed this worksheet. Jazakallah khairan. So and he has made a structured memorization plan. We need to use this. You need to say in February and in March, and like when you have a systematic plan to the student, you will be the first person who benefit from this. You will see the success. You will see success in your work, and you will see success for the student. So you need to have structured memorization plan, and you need also to have a consistent repetition and recitation, and encourage regular revision. And lastly, also this is very important because not many students doing it, to listen to Sheikh Khatem audios and to other sheikh when they memorize or if they want to or if they do the green book. So this is for this slide. Now, when the student want to move from one level to another level, you need to do four things before you send them to Sheikh Hatem to be tested. You need to make sure that there is a consistent review. You need to also do a mock evaluations, exactly similar to what Sheikh Hatem is doing, to ask in every single page and to ask in every single surah that they have already memorized it. You also need to post and motivate them, and also to be honest and give them realistic evaluation. So encourage them, but at the same time say, oh, you have this problem, you need to fix them before you go to Sheikh Hatem. So now we go into the slide before the last slide. So let's say this is an important scenario. When do we need to report to the coordinator? This is very important. We are not going to run to the coordinator or to the head of the school on every single problem that we see. You need to learn how to solve the problems yourself. So in this scenario, the parent are not following up with the student, or they are or their student that misbehaving. So one of the possible solution that you meet with the parent, they might need assistance, they might be very busy in their life, then and they might have their children already have some weaknesses. You need to fix them, so you need to think about different solution for every student. Think about this one. Most likely you will get good outcome. Most likely you will get parents are following up with the students. I have seen this with many of the students that I contact their parent, and I found them they need clarification, and they need in this situation the problem will be solved. You will be very happy, and you will raise the reputation of the school high. But what happen if still they don't want to come to me to you, or they are not cooperating, and you have done all of your responsibility and all of your work? In this scenario, you need to report. You can report this to the coordinator, and the coordinator, if they cannot solve it, they will report it by themselves to the head of the school. But we need to follow this skeleton. We cannot run for every single problem to the coordinator. And now I put this slide as like a summary or something that we can easily, if we think about this one, we we can always remember. When we remember this slide, it is called scale. So the scale means, remember the S. Please standardize your feedback, and also please customize plans for the parent, and assist and for the children, and assist parents and let the kids develop, and finally engage the coordinator as a last step when there is a real need to do that. Thank you, and Jazakumullah khairan, and I hope these slides were helpful to you and everyone. Jazakumullah khair.